welcome to another episode of the Bubble Chat, the podcast where we pop the lid on the latest in pop culture, entertainment, and everything happening inside the bubble. I'm your host, Joanne, and I'm so glad you decided to spend part of your day with us. We've got a packed rundown today, and I can't wait to dive into all the tea we've gathered for this week's session. Now, you might notice the energy in the studio feels a little different today. Our favorite resident, Shay Sugar, who is my mom, is out this week. She is doing her comedy gig tonight. We definitely miss her perspective, but don't worry, the show must go on.
And even though the virtual seats look a little different today, the mission remains the motherfucking same. We're here to give you those deep dives and unfiltered takes that you've come to expect from us. So whether you're listening during your morning commute, at the gym, or just relaxing at home, get ready, because we're ready to bring you into the fold and make you feel like you're right here with us in the motherfucking room. And on today's episode, we'll be covering some heavy hitters from the fallout from 2026 Grammy Awards to the latest viral moments that have
Oh, wait,
everyone.
that's me, bitch. That's me. That was me.
Did you just call me a bitch?
No, I call myself bitch.
Okay.
I call
Say
myself a
self bitch.
bitch.
Say self bitch. Bitch
Okay,
self.
all
Okay.
right. That was me. My bad. I'll edit it out later. On
No,
today's
keep it in.
episode,
Keep it in. Keep it in. You ain't got to edit it out.
okay, all right.
They like that.
On today's episode, we're covering some heavy hitters from the fallout of the 2026 Grammy Awards to the latest viral moments that have everyone talking. We aren't holding anything back. We'll also be checking in our favorite segments and making sure you're fully up to speed on the stories that actually matter in the ZT gist right now.
Mm.
What a word.
So let's get into it. Grab your favorite drink, settle in, and get ready to talk. It's time for another episode of the Bubble Chat. Let's go. In the words of Wendy Williams herself, it's time for Hot Topics.
Are
How
you
you doing?
good?
Ew.
I'm doing good. How was your Valentine's Day? We'll start with Adonis.
Man,
Oh, I
you can
was
go first.
busy all weekend. I was making people bust their guts before they went home and bust guts.
Like that. I like that.
It was the BG weekend. It was BG. Bust some guts all weekend. Friday,
I was asleep.
Well,
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. As show every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
yeah, I didn't get my invite on Thursday, but it's cool. My Valentine's Day was, you know what? I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was a little sad because my favorite Nigerian did not even think about me, but it's cool because you
How
know
many
what? I'm gonna
Nigerians
get
you
two
got?
of
You got a
them.
village of them? How many Nigerians?
No, I'm gonna get though. That's my goal this year. I'm gonna get another village of Nigerians, okay? Because I mean, in my
A
heart, I
Guyana
don't want
village.
nothing else. You said what?
A Guyana village.
I need that. I need
Yeah.
that. So, because you know what they say, if one ain't acting right, get two more, right? Okay, then.
Damn.
So,
Oh.
yep. So next Valentine's Day, I'm gonna be real booked and busy. We're claiming it in Jesus' name.
Amen.
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 How about you, Joanne? How was your Valentine's Day?
It was like any other regular day to me.
You didn't
Ooh.
get a box of chocolates?
Nope.
Did you buy your mama some chocolates?
Nope.
You gotta feed the universe, so it'll feed you back.
I was asleep.
I just did a dumb.
Because I'm my own motherfucking Valentine.
So, did you buy yourself some roses, some candy, or?
Nope.
Okay.
That's okay. That is okay.
But can we talk about the history that was just made on the Super Bowl stage? Because the ratings are officially in, and Bad Bunny's halftime performance didn't just meet expectations, it completely shattered them. Variety is reporting that his set drew in the record-breaking viewership numbers, providing that the Benito effect is a global powerhouse. From the choreography to the set list, the energy was undeniable, and it's clear that the NFL's move to embrace a full Latin music headliner paid off in a massive way. The production value was on another level, and seeing that kind of representation on the world's biggest stage felt like a true cultural shift. It wasn't just a concert, it felt like a celebration that resonated far beyond the stadium. When you look at the sheer scale of the audience he reached, it is a testament to how much the landscape of mainstream entertainment has evolved. Looking looking at these record-breaking numbers, do you think we are officially entering an era where the Super Bowl halftime show will prioritize global superstars over traditional American pop acts? And who who would you want to see e- take that? Who would you want to see take that next stage next?
Chris
What are your thoughts?
Brown. Chris
It's fu-
Brown.
it's fucking time. Or Nikki,
No,
y'all
no.
not gonna y'all not gonna push out my fave like this. Somebody said that the next halftime performance is gonna be K-pop, and if that's true, it's no longer American. And I'm not trying to do that with y'all because but to stay on topic. The Benito Super Bowl was just that. I feel like it was for the Mexicans and the Latinas, and I love that for them. After seeing what the message was, yeah, I was all for it. But in the moment in it, I wish we had subtitles. I didn't know what the fuck was being said. I can also say with my chest that I'm not really a fan of Bad Bunny, so I knew nothing going into it. So hearing a whole set list in Spanish, it didn't really move me. Nah.
Well, I have to get this off my chest because I've been sitting with it since that Sunday night. Watching that
Hmm.
halftime performance was a spiritual experience, honestly. It was the ultimate example of what a worldwide platform should even look like. I mean, the entire concept of that show was a masterclass in where Bad Bunny came from, the energy, the community, the culture. It was
Hmm.
everything. But can we talk about the specific moment where he's on screen giving a Grammy to his younger self? That got me because it wasn't just a cool visual. It represented the dream that has literally manifested into a reality. And now here he is being the first artist with a full Spanish album to win a fucking Grammy. Like that's a big fucking deal. Because this is everything he imagined back when he was back in groceries in Puerto Rico, and seeing it play out of this world stages was powerful. I'll be the first to admit, years ago, I've never even pictured Bad Bunny headlining a Super Bowl. But after seeing Kendrick Lamar's historic run and everything that's been going on with ICE and the political climate this past year and beyond, I realized what I realized that this was exactly the same energy and resistance through joy and its calming space. And I really don't get why some people are still crashing out in the comments saying the performance, and I quote, should have been in English. Like, are we fucking serious? It's 2026. Like, grow the hell up. If you haven't realized that this world is bigger than your backyard right now, that's on you. And don't even get me started on Amanda Vance. I mean, you're telling me you paid thousands of dollars to be physically present at one of the most historic halftime shows ever, just to sit there with your wired headphones on, watching a Turning Point USA stream on your phone. I mean, that level of performative is actually exhausting. I mean, you're in the building, the bass is shaking the floor, and you're choosing to look at a tiny screen because you were scared of a language you don't speak. It's embarrassing. We're moving the fuck forward. The culture is moving, and if you want to stay stuck in your own little bubble watching an alternate reality on your iPhone, go ahead. But the rest of us are busy celebrating history, period, and the point blank.
I just was wondering where
Yeah.
Lady Gaga came in at. I just was wondering out of everything that happened, where the hell Lady Gaga came in at. And the bitch didn't even sing Alejandro. I was very, very confused. I didn't understand why what that was going on. I'm just gonna say what I gotta say. I just could have kept little white fish in the lake, in the pond somewhere, because I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And I don't want I got it.
Oh,
Now, yeah,
sorry.
that's what happened. That's what happened.
Straight
But
like that.
yeah, and it's the end of an era for daytime TV because we have finally had the official word on the cancellation of the Sherry Shepherd show. Sherry Shepherd has officially broken her silence, and honestly, seeing the way that she's been handling this transition is a masterclass of grace. After four successful seasons of bringing laughter and joy, the news that shows the news that the show won't be returning to the 2026-27 season definitely caught a lot of fans off guard. She's been such a consistent vibrant presence on our screens, especially taking over that tough time slot and making it her own. Remember, family? Hearing her talk about the gratitude that she has for her crew and the show and the heart behind the production. It's a tough landscape in this daytime television right now. And while the show is ending, Sherry has made it clear that her journey is in this space, that her journey in this space is far from over. With so many daytime talk shows being canceled or shifted lately, do you think that traditional talk show format is dying out, or is it just becoming harder to host to compete the 24/7 cycle of social media and streaming?
Sure.
Um, yes, there's a shift in television. It should be a shift in television. I don't like, and I could be very, very honest right now, that Jersey Shore. I just heard that Basketball Wives is ending, and I'm so happy because all them bitches is 45 plus. They're
And
grandmothers
none of them
now.
are married.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
Hmm.
what are we doing? It's the Atlanta Housewives, some of the Housewives shows, different reality shows. I get a kick and a hoot out of. But to look forward to a TV show each week, they like Traders is a big thing. I don't even watch that. I'm not into that at all. The
Get
most
one of the
reality,
black
the most
people.
reality TV show I watch is the news.
Mm.
Is the news.
Hmm.
I mean,
But
I
I do
have to
think
be.
no, I do think there is a space for a lot of new type of television, especially flipping the script conversations with concierge, locked in conversations with Tisa and Adonis at This Is It. So, right here on the bubble chat, you can broadcast so many things. We can be out there. Goes the bubble.
All right, I have to be honest. When the news hit about Sherry Shepherd, my head was just like spinning. The way it went down was just a mess. I mean, Sherry was actually recovering from COVID that week, and it feels
Oh,
so wrong that she didn't get the chance to announce it to her fans first, instead of a poof, it's gone moment from the production company or a random article. She should have had that space to speak her truth because it's frustrating when a team doesn't give the host the respect to break their own news before journalists drop it out of the blue. And like, don't even get me started on the messiness of people bringing up Wendy Williams right now. The rumors flying that Wendy is hinting at 2026 comeback, and it's creating this shady. And don't get me wrong, I really really do hope that Wendy has a Wendy show is coming back that year. Don't get me wrong, and
Hmm.
but it was an unnecessary comparison. I mean, nobody can replace Sherry and nobody can replace Wendy. That the work that goes into being a daytime host is insane. Getting up at the crack of dawn, the hours of hot topics meetings, hair, makeup, and then going live. Most people couldn't handle a fraction of that. So on the flip side, I am just so filled with gratitude that Sherry made it 4 seasons. In this landscape, some shows don't even survive their first. And I remember when she first announced her show while filling it for Wendy, that was the exact moment I thought this is my time. Seeing her go to for seeing her go for her dream inspired me to finally launch this platform and after wanting to do it since the pandemic started. And look at us now. Surprise. Oh, by the way, the Bubble Chat is officially returning for season 5 this August.
We love
I
a
mean,
shameless plug.
even with my
Hmm.
small audience and so much still to learn, I made that dream a reality, and I'll never take it for granted. And I'll always have a special place in my heart for the Sherry Show. And I'm excited to see how Sherry fights to keep the vibe of her show alive in a new way. But it's not just Sherry. The Kelly Clarkson show is also coming to an end, and hearing both announcements in that same week feels like a total deja vu because it kind of like reminds me of this daytime purge of 2022. It feels like we're back in that cycle where so many successful award-winning shows got canceled, such as the Ellen DeGeneres Show, the Wendy Williams Show, The Real, Maury, Judge Springer, the Nick Cannon
oh,
Talk Show,
Maury,
Dr. Oz, and even The Good Dish. I mean, I could go on
Maury,
and on, but it's like really quick, sorry, Tish. It's like the whole industry is shifting, and it's a lot to process for anyone who loves the medium.
she over here
okay, let me
focused on
play
Maury.
victim right quick. Let me play victim right quick, y'all, because I'm so happy you mentioned it first. First of all, Wendy didn't get a chance to say goodbye. Wendy didn't get a chance to thank her viewers. So I'm sorry. Fuck Sherry Shepherd, okay? She stole my girl's slot. She sat in a off pink chair. Fuck her, okay? I don't give a fuck. I didn't like the show in the first place. Her guest sucks. We didn't like her on the V. We don't like her
Wait a minute,
alone.
wait. Nephew Mama was on the Sherry Shepherd show. I was actually on the Sherry Shepherd show. I was in the audience and everything. I'm just you and the
Well,
title.
when I get my show, I'll invite y'all on there as well. But that
Yes,
don't mean
I
I have
just
to like.
woo.
I wasn't a fan of her on The View. I'm not a fan of her by herself. Okay, I wasn't a fan of her on. I don't give a fuck. So, I
Okay.
cried when Tamar got fired. I
Allegedly.
cried when they canceled Game of Thrones. Shows get canceled. Okay, that's just the way shit goes. Streaming is winning. Okay, I'm watching Zeus. I'm watching Now That's TV, Hulu, Netflix. If you have cable, you're rich. Congratulations. Anything else?
No, next.
Okay, we're shifting gears to a story that has really touched everyone this week. And following the heartbreak of news of his passing at just 48 years old, the friends and family of James Van Der Beek have begun sharing some incredibly intimate photos and memories of his final days. It's a rare behind the scenes look at how the Dawson's Creek star spent his last moments at his ranch in Austin. And honestly, the vulnerability being shared is beautiful. From Stacy Keebler posting a photo of them watching the sunset together, to Alfonso Ribeiro reflecting on their brotherhood. It's clear that James was surrounded by an immense amount of love. The tributes highlight a man who met his battle with colorectal, I can't pronounce that, but cancer with an unbelievable courage, faith, and grace. His wife Kimberly mentioned sorry, y'all. His wife Kimberly mentioned that there is much more to share, his wishes and his love for humanity. But for now, the images of him smiling at his bedside or holding hands with his closest friends tell a story of a life lived with deep intention. James' friends emphasize how he taught them to be truly present even in his final days. Do you think the way celebrities are now choosing to share these private, vulnerable end of life moments help to demystify grief or the rest of us, or should some things remain strictly behind closed doors?
You know, um, looking at those photos of James surrounded by his loved ones, it hits home in a way that's hard to put in words. It immediately took me back to the time when I learned that my grandpa was in his final days. I was right in the middle of getting ready for my last year of college, but I did everything I could to. In fact, I was coming home from that summer break because I did everything I could to be there, whether it was helping mom, supporting the hospice nurses, or just sleeping right there next to him so he wasn't alone. I wanted to be in that space with him. Cause I'll be real with you guys, it took a little bit of a toll on my mental health, and that was my first time truly experiencing what it's like to notice a family member running out of time on this earth. It's a very different, feeling than when I was younger. I remember visiting my great grandmother, we call her Big Mama, and seeing her in that hospital bed. At the time, I didn't fully grasp what was happening. It wasn't until the funeral, seeing my family in tears and feeling those first sobs myself. That's when I really learned what death and grieving meant. But witnessing James Vander Big's journey and reflecting on my own reminds me that being present in those final moments is a heavy but beautiful responsibility. It's really about that sacredness of time he talked about, and it's painful and it changes you, but it's an ultimate act of love that will walk someone to the edge of that transition. So yeah, that's how I feel.
Um, Dawson's Creek was a little bit before my time, or I just didn't really watch it. But to really answer the main question about some things being kept private, there's a saying that I really love. Funerals are really for the living. Because if you think about it, celebrities, they all have families. They're going to highlight their loved ones in the most beautiful ways possible, regardless if they were famous or not. Like say y'all didn't know me. I would post all my dad's accomplishments and all this other stuff, his last moments, stuff like that. So I won't say it needs to be kept secret or kept private because he was loved by other people. So it's okay to share certain things like that. I mean, if you're like me, because I kind of have like a morbid curiosity, but thankfully, he didn't pass, horribly or nothing like that. Because when people pass horribly, that's when it's a little sad to show stuff like that. But people do have the curiosity. So I feel like it was a little bit of a way to respect his fans, showing them that he was strong until the very end. Hmm. You look comfortable, Adonis.
I am.
That's great.
I've experienced death differently. I held my best friend when she took her last breath. So like to share the moment, to be present in the moment when time is expiring is like very precious time for both people
Hmm.
expiring and those that are still living. Um, I, I mean, I'm old enough about Dawson's Creek, but I never watched the show. Um, Condolences to his family, and he has a lot of friends and supporters, here still in his memory. So that's great. The good thing, the best thing about passing away is leaving good memories and nostalgia for people that are still here.
Amen.
Hmm 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 hmm
Before we move on, is that the one theme song? I don't want to wait forever. Is that clocked it? Okay.
hmm
Hmm. That's
So
all I
look,
know.
we're moving into some heavy and honestly terrifying territory regarding the technology in our schools. The Randor Township School District in Pennsylvania is currently under a massive spotlight after a juvenile was charged for cheating. Ooh, excuse me. A massive spotlight after a juvenile was charged for creating and disrupting a non-consensual sexualized AI generated images of other students. What started as rumors in December of 2025 has turned into a major and ethical battle. Parents are absolutely outraged, not just for the act itself but at how the district handled it, claiming that the school initially downplayed the situation and even sent emails saying no evidence of a crime was found, only for
Whoa.
police to file criminal charges just days later. Parents are rightfully demanding accountability and better education for kids because, as we're seeing, the technology is moving a lot faster than the rules meant to protect us. With AI making it so easy to create realistic but fake, harmful content, do you think schools should have a power to monitor students' personal devices, or does the responsibility fall solely on parents and lawmakers to keep up with these digital
I
threats?
have a major problem with where this is all heading, and honestly, it's terrifying how we're seeing AI being weaponized in our schools. It's not just a tech glitch. We are seeing stories of AI being used to reanimate the dead for views, to sexualize women and children, and most disturbingly, to act as suicide coaches. Just look at the lawsuits hitting companies like OpenAI and Character AI right now in 2026. I mean, there are real, excuse me. Just look at the lawsuits hitting companies like OpenAI, Character.ai right now in 2026. There are like real world cases, like the heartbreaking story of Adam Rain, where these platforms actually encourage him to self harm rather than providing the help a human would. When we talk about students using AI to target a classmate with unwanted content, we have to call it as it is bullying. The evidence is irrefutable, and any school district that tries to wait and see while this happens is failing its responsibility to protect its students. We can't just let these tools run wild. And I believe every school district needs a mandatory pros and cons of AI workshop. and we have to like educate ourselves that we have to educate ourselves and the students that AI is not a therapist. It as AI as this Catalina Doria who has pointed out, these platforms are designed to tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. They agree with you to keep you in danger and feeding them data, which is the dangerous loop when someone is already in a dark place. And I'm just sick and tired of hearing about school districts doing the bare minimum while students are being traumatized. Because bullying is never just kids being kids. And with AI, the
Mhm.
damage is amplified and 1,000 times over. The victim the victim might be pushed to something irreversible. If we don't do something, if we, excuse me, and if we don't start holding these companies and these goals boards accountable for their digital wild wet as they've created, we're going to lose more than just a sense of privacy. We're going to lose more lives.
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't really blame the parents for the child's what's what I'm looking for. The child's use of AI because AI does have some advantages. I mean, me personally, I don't use Chat GPT, but I heard people use it for resumes to get jobs and advice and stuff like that. Um, this just reminds me of like a personal issue that I went through when I was younger. This guy actually was like, if you don't date me, then I'm going to make a picture of you naked and put it all around the school. And like, even though I was young and knew he wasn't like computer savvy, that's scary, you know? Now, mind you, I'm 32, so that was years ago. So kids right now, you can just put somebody's picture in and they're dancing and shit like that. So I don't know the extent of this of what they did at this school, but honestly, it's scary. I mean, I wish that parents hug their children, you know, that you don't have to go out and do things like that for attention or just whatever the hell he used it for. It's sad all the way around, but I mean, if the police can make that a criminal crime, then I feel like it fits. That's a criminal offense to what he did to those other children. Before I go into this, I want to say that I am a Nicki Minaj fan. Um, we have to talk about the literal war happening between Cardi B and Department of Homeland Security. This all kicked off on the opening night of her Little Miss Drama tour in Palm Desert. Cardi was on stage and she didn't hold back, telling the crowd that if ICE agents tried to show up at her show, she and her fans were going to jump them, and that she had Bear Mace in the back. It was a huge viral moment of her standing 10 toes down for her fans, especially after seeing Bad Bunny's Ice Out message at the Grammys earlier this month. But things got weird when the official DHS account on X actually replied to the TMZ report. They took a personal jab at her, saying that as long as she doesn't, and I quote, drug and rob their agents, referencing her past, they consider it an improvement. Cardi, being the Bronx person she is, clapped back immediately, shifting the focus to recently released Epstein files. She basically told them that if they want to talk about drugging people, they should explain why those files show underage girls being drugged and why the government isn't being as vocal about that. Bubblers, do you think it's appropriate for a government agency like the DHS to use its official platform to make personal jabs at celebrities? Or does this unprofessional energy just reflect how polarized our politics have been in 2026? Y'all, look who our president is, Trump. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the Twitter politics, the White House, like the actual White House Twitter, or should I say X account, they've been using like black celebrities' music to like
Oh
push
my
their
god.
ICE agenda. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like 2026 politics, make America great again, reign is gone completely to hell.
So sorry.
hmm
I have to
So what
say
y'all think about Barty?
uh, that response from the DHS was completely uncalled for. It's so obvious they don't know what Cardi's struggle or where she comes from. To take a personal shot at her past, something she's already been open and vulnerable about, and just to save your own ego, it's peak unprofessional. But honestly, this is becoming a pattern with the federal government social media presence lately, specifically the White House. It reminds me of how the White House, like you said, Tish, of how the White House has been using hit songs to soundtrack ICE deportation videos. We've seen them. We've seen them co-opt tracks from Sabrina Carpenter, SZA, Olivia Rodrigo, literally, I can go on, but literally using songs about love or viral memes to backdrop footage of people in handcuffs. And the worst fucking part isn't even just using the music. It's the gaslighting that follows. When artists like Sabrina call it evil and disgusting, the White House clapped back with statements like "We won't apologize," or they try to turn the artist's own lyrics against them. It's like they're trying to rage bait the culture for free promo. They are making a spectacle out of humans suffering and then acting like these artists are the ones who are slow or out of touch for having a heart. Whether it's the DHS coming for Cardi or the White House trolling pop stars, it feels like they're more connected with getting likes and wins on X than with the actual humanity of the people their policies affect. If they spend half as much time on actual security as they do on being edgy in the replies, we might actually get somewhere. I'm
I
just
agree.
saying.
Party conversation. I don't want to get us in trouble because I don't want to talk too political, but there are so many other issues that we could be addressing and trying to problem solve versus us talking about Ice, Bad Bunny, and Cardi B.
Mm.
I'm so sorry.
As we continue our Black History Month celebration here on the Bubble Chat, we have to give flowers to a woman who is the definition of a triple threat and then some. I'm talking about the one and the only Royal on Ice Queen herself, Jill Scott.
From the moment she stepped onto the scene out of North Philly, Jill Scott didn't just give us music, she gave us a mirror. She showed us that you could be beautiful, soulful, poetic, unapologetically black while still being the girl next door who just happens to have a voice of an angel. Just this week, she dropped her first studio album after a decade titled To Whom This May Concern. It is a 19-track journey that proves her pen is as sharp as ever. Seeing her collaborating with artists such as Tierra Whack and J.I.D. shows how much respect for the new generation she has for her and they have for her legacy. She's not just living her life like it's golden. She's still setting the gold standard for what it means to be an artist with depth and integrity. Who's Welcome back to the motherfucking Bubble Chat. Before we dive or dove into the music and the headlines, I wanted to make sure that we carved out some space for a conversation that is deeply relevant, especially when we navigate Black History Month in 2026. We're talking about Black fatigue. This is a discussion that has been heavily led and amplified by Tisha Talks. And if you haven't been following her deep dives on social media, you are missing out on some essential perspectives.
Let me go in. Okay, y'all, we is fucking tired. As Black people, this is the definition of Black fatigue. We, Black people and allies, went to the voting polls in November. We did what we were supposed to do. Now, y'all voted for the orange man. Y'all seeing what he doing. You seeing what ICE is doing under his direction. And y'all looking at us like, y'all don't want to protest? Hell no, we don't want to protest. We protested before. We did this, and look what's happening now. So we're tired. Black fatigue continues. It continued the day after y'all voted. It started when they named Trump president, and it's probably going to continue until the day after Trump is president. I really want to talk about Black fatigue because everybody is saying, "Oh, now it's a global war. Like it's not just
Mhm.
Black people. It's not just Hispanics. It's everybody." We been told y'all that. We said they was gonna come for us. Who do you think they was gonna come for next? All right, I'm done. Tisha talked about it.
Next.
I talked about it.
How'd you feel
Sorry, I had
about
to go
that at
in.
first? How'd you feel what Tisha said? If you have
You
any
said
hit on
what?
it.
Huh?
Oh, sorry.
I was asking you, how did you feel about it?
I agree with her 100%.
Thank you. What you think about it?
You look like you had a 40-ounce nephew.
I mean, I feel like you said, this is what they voted for. That's all I can say.
Hmm.
Mm, mm, mm.
I mean, are you
Well,
tired? Because I'm tired.
it's not like a box of chocolate. You know exactly what your ass was gonna get. And with that, it wraps up another incredible episode of the motherfucking Bubble Chat. I want to send a special thank out to my co-host for stepping in today and keeping the vibes immaculate while my mama is away, Shay Sugar. We managed to cover so much ground for today, and I hope our conversation gave you something to think about, laugh about, or even give reason to just feel seen. Before we head out, remember that the conversation doesn't just have to end here. Make sure that you're following us on all of our social platforms and that you are subscribed so you never miss a beat. Your support is what keep this bubble from popping, and I'm so grateful for every week that every one of you come and tunes in. As we move into the rest of the week, I wanted to leave you with a quick reminder: protect your peace, advocate yourself, and never be afraid to step out of the norm to make your dreams a reality. We're all in the works of progress, and there is so much power in just showing up as your authentic self. We have been your hosts. This has been The Bubble Chat, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye,
Guys.
guys. Peace.
Bye.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Bubble Chat. I am so glad you decided to hang out with us today, whether you're listening while you're working in the shop, heading to rehearsal, or just chilling at home. We're so hyped to have you here. This space has always been about diving into the things we love and honestly just having a real conversation about the culture and stories that keep us inspired.
And it feels good to be back behind the mic again. If you've been following us for a while, you know that things can get a little hectic. But that's the beauty of the bubble. It's your own dedicated corner to pause and actually talk about what's going on. Now, I've been doing a lot of thinking lately about where we're taking the show, and I'm really leaning into that raw, unfiltered motherfucking energy that makes this podcast feel like chats between friends.
We have a lot to get into today, from the latest shifts in the industry to those deep dive stories that usually get buried in the headlines. We're covering it all. We've been looking to some fascinating updates, everything from legendary music icons making history to the creative hurdles we all face when we're trying to build something from scratch. It's going to be a packed session, so I hope you're ready.
And we also want to take a special motherfucking thank you. Oops. We also want to take a motherfucking special thank Oops. We also want to take a motherfucking second to thank you guys for the support. Seeing the community grow and hearing your thoughts on these episodes truly means the world to me. It's a reason why we keep coming back to the desk. Now, this show is as much yours as it is mine. And I want to make sure that we're keeping that creative spark alive together, no matter the fuck what. Okay? And we're working on the next. So let us not waste any more time. Grab your coffee, settle in, get your blunt, some Chex Mix, listen to the bubble check because we're officially getting right started. We're officially getting started right now.
How
I
you
like,
doing?
yeah, I look like Wendy Williams, but how you doing? A little frazzled for a moment right now. I'm sorry, nephew.
No worries, you're all good. All right, we have to talk about what just happened with Ray J because the internet is collectively losing its mind. So he was performing at the show, and out of nowhere, he starts bleeding from his eyes and has this glowing patch on his chest. It looked like something straight out of a sci-fi horror flick. At the first, people in the crowd weren't even sure if it was even a medical emergency or a stunt. it turns out it was all part of the performance, this high concept visual experiences he's been teasing. But man, this execution was jarring. He really committed to the bit, and the visuals of the blood running down his face while he's hitting his wrist was a lot. Ray J always been Ray J always been known for being a bit of a wild card and a tech forward thinker, but this feels like a whole new level of theatrical for him. It's definitely not the Ray J we remember from the wait a minute days. He's clearly trying to pivot this darker or more avant-garde performance art space. The reaction has been split down the middle. Some fans are calling it genius branding and the way to stay relevant in a crowded space, while others are just confused and honestly a little creeped out by the gore of it all. So, what do you think about it, Adonis?
I mean, we just went over him last week talking about how his lung and his heart capacity is below 50%, and he needs to be in some type of rehabilitation or trying to rehabilitate his whole like immune system. And here he is with the damn theatrics. I mean, this ain't no different than the blood and Lil Nas X tennis shoes.
Right,
I
because
mean,
I think I remember that there was like there was allegedly actual blood in the shoes. I wasn't sure if it's like human or animal blood though,
now,
but
now here's
I
now
have
here's
to take a personal. Oh,
no, I was gonna say now here's the thing. That's a little extreme to have blood coming out of your eyes. But think about it like this. What if that fool really was bleeding out his eyes and just tried to play it down because he's really, really sick? Like we can look at this either way. I don't like the optics. But go ahead, nephew.
all right, because I want to take a little bit of a personal take on this, and I want to be clear. I am definitely not a medical expert, so I can't sit here and tell you for a fact that what Ray J did was wrong or exactly what was happening inside his body. But I've been doing a little bit of research about it, and I found some interesting info from the University of Florida Health. They actually list eye pain or soreness as one of those less common symptoms of mycoplasma pneumonia. Because when you connect the dots between that and the fact that Ray was recently hospitalized for severe ear pneumonia and heart issues, and learning that he doesn't have much time on this earth, it really makes you wonder. Because I honestly feel like Ray could have spotted these signs early on. Because your eyes are literally sore or acting up while you're already battling a lung infection that has your heart at a 25% capacity, that is your body screaming at you to sit down. Even if the bleeding was just a theatrical choice for the Valentine's Day show, the fact that he was on stage at all with a medical patch on his chest, I truly believe he should have listened to his own body and made the call to cancel or at least push back the concert. Because your health is the one thing you can't hustle your way out of.
That's right. And health is wealth. Okay, now we have to shift gears some in the R&B history that completely blew everyone's mind this week. A TV personality, Adrian Bellon Halton, just dropped a massive bombshell on Page Six Radio. It turns out country superstar Mickey Guyton was actually an original member of 3LW. Apparently, back in the day, the group originally Mickey, Adrian, and Kylie Williams. Adrian explained Mickey was actually the powerhouse lead singer of the group before Notori joined. They even recorded No More, Baby I'm a Do Right with Mickey's vocals first. Can you even imagine that truck without Notori's iconic bridge? It's wild because Mickey ended up leaving the group before they officially launched because she wanted to head in a different musical direction. Now, Adrian was so commentary saying was so complimentary, saying Mickey was always the one and has this incredible soulful voice that we all look up to. It's just crazy to think how different in the early 2000 girl group scene would have looked if she had stayed. So looking at how both 3LW and Mickey's career turned out, do you think Mickey would have reached the same legendary status if she stayed in the pop group lane? Or was the departure the best thing for her that could have happened artistly? What do you think? I mean, this is more of your generation, nephew.
Yeah, I have to be honest with you. I've heard whispers for some time about Mickey Guyton being intended for 3LW, but I always brushed it off as one of those urban legends because I wasn't sure if it was actually true until I saw the article and the video on Instagram of Adrian Bailon finally bringing it down. Because according to Adrian, Mickey's originally from Texas, since Adrian and Keely were living in New York and New Jersey at the time. That meant Mickey would have had to basically uproot her entire life to stay in the tri-state area. Because Adrian mentioned that Mickey even figured that out back then. The risk of being homesick and not knowing the word was just too much for a teenager. It didn't feel right to her, so she stepped away. I want to say that it kind of reminded me of a situation where Adrian revealed that Solange Knowles was going to be Aquanet from the Cheetah Girls, but then she dropped out because, she was focusing on releasing her album, so Keely ended up taking her place. Now, the real shocker, I never even knew about 3LW during my time. I had no clue that Adrian and Keely, who we all know from the Cheetah Girls, were in this group first with Naturi Naughton and later Jessica Benson after her departure, because finding out about the group's history was a wild rabbit hole, especially the drama surrounding Naturi's exit. I genuinely believe Keely might have saved herself from what would have been the messiest moments in music history if it had become 4LW. Between everything we've heard about her momager, Keith Williams, and the accusations Adrian and Keely threw at Naturi for spreading misinformation on the Wendy Williams radio show back then, it was a lot. And don't even get me started on the infamous KFC altercation where Adrian, who luckily
Yeah,
didn't
through that
burn any
two
food,
piece.
ended up defending Keely in the middle of it all while Keely was snapping at her. But years later, Adrian did apologize. So, yeah, it was a mess.
As the world turned. I don't really have much to say about any of this. I mean, clearly, all these young women have had um, a substantial amount of success independently or collectively. I know that I can say that the way things go, did you know that the song was written, Umbrella was written for Britney Spears. They
Hmm.
even brought it to Mary J. Blige, but Rihanna was the one to record it, right?
Right.
Then another little fun fact, Rain was supposed to be Brandy's breakout, like adult official grown woman song, but it ended up being recorded by SWE. So some moves musically make sense. And like they said, if they had not replaced Mickey with Notori, we wouldn't have gotten that iconic bridge, right?
Right.
So
Switching over to some heavy head. What were you saying?
nothing.
Okay. Switching over to some heavy headlines that have been circulating, Whoopi Goldberg is officially setting the record straight after her name started popping up in social media posts related to the unreleased Jeffrey Epstein's documents. She took a moment on The View to shut it all down. She was very direct about it, basically saying, I wasn't his girlfriend, and I quote, I wasn't his girlfriend, I wasn't his friend, and I certainly wasn't on that island. Whoopi pointed out that in today's world, it's so easy for someone to just type a name into a list, post it online, and suddenly it becomes fact to millions of people. She mentioned that she's never or even met the man. Yet she's having to defend her reputation against these viral fabricated graphics. It's a wild look at how fast misinformation can travel, even when there's a zero evidence to back it up. So I want to ask you, Adonis, in the era of fake news and doctor documents, do you think celebrities should even bother addressing these rumors on air, or does giving it a platform just feed the trolls even more?
Depending on the subject and manner, and I'll use Jay-Z as an example, and his wife Beyonce. Very, very private people, very, very discreet, and when they put in, remember with the Diddy, when that lawyer filed that case against him or those charges, he was like, let it all out. Normally he doesn't respond, but on that particular subject and issue, he spoke up, even for myself. Um, Eyewitness? No. I was a victim. Ain't no damn witness. I was a victim. And I got into a little internet scuttlebutt. And because she had said that I mess with people's kids. And I had to address that because that was not true. So, depending on the subject and or the person, I totally support someone speaking up, clarifying, putting out the truth. You know? Because some people's characters and or integrity are on the line. And those things are very, very valuable.
Yeah. I wanted to dive into a story. Um, yeah, I wanted to dive into the story that has been flooding our feeds lately, and that's Whoopi Goldberg, breaking her silence. It was incredibly firm on the View, making it clear she was never involved with him, not as a friend, not as a girlfriend, and she was never on that island. It was actually really eye-opening when opening to hear Sarah Haynes, who is the co-host on The View, explain how these things happen. She pointed out that the names often pop up in these files, not because it's a crime, but because of news articles, third-party emails, or just general contact lists. Because it's a heavy reminder that goes to show that in this search is for the truth, that we have to be careful not to let misinformation drown out the real story. Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to acknowledge that young girls were victimized while people potentially turn a blind eye due to power and money. Now, I'm going to get go into a little bit of some detail about Jeffrey Epstein and the information in the files that we've been recently hearing. But before I do want to give the listeners a bit of a serious trigger warning. The details that I'm about to share are deeply disturbing. So if that is something that will make you uncomfortable or trigger an issue for you, I strongly suggest you take all the time you need and head to the show notes to and I've linked the time stamp there so you can skip ahead for the next segment. For everyone else, please proceed with caution. So, for those of you who don't know who the full background from the research that I've gathered, Jeffrey Epstein was a financier and a convicted child sex offender. This all traces back to 2005 when Florida police in Palm Beach started an investigation after a parent reported that he sexually abused her 14-year-old daughter. That investigation uncovered a horrifying system where he produced underage girls and young women who were allegedly raped by him and his associates. Just this month, the U.S. Department of Justice and the House Oversight Committee released a massive trove of documents under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. We're talking about millions of pages, over 180,000 images, and 2,000 videos. Some of the photos are heartbreaking. They show Epstein in intimate, affectionate poses with young children on his plane or in bathrobes with children in his lap. It's a staggering amount of evidence showing acts that are honestly too disturbing to continue listening. So, yeah, it's a lot.
Sick. Sick. And there are even emails. There are even emails that implicate torture videos. So we have come to the sad realization that the richest men in America are pedophiles. Well, moving forward, let's talk about what's taken us all the way back to the early 2000s, but with a very 2026 lens. Page 6 reporting that America's Next Top Model alumni Tiffany Richardson, yes, I'm talking about the girl in the Judge's Cycle 4 models were rooting for is officially, say the word, nephew, eviscerating.
Eviscerating, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so let me start all over. Okay, we have to talk about a story that's taking us all the way back to the early 2000s, but with a very 2026 lens. Page Six is reporting that America's Next Top Model alumni, Tiffany Richardson, yes, I'm talking about the girl, Tyra, the judges, and the Cycle 4 models were all rooting for, is officially eviscerating Tyra Banks, calling her a bully, and looking back at that infamous "we were all rooting for you" moment with some serious fire. This all is coming out because the new documentary by Netflix entitled Reality Check, diving into the toxic culture of the show. Tiffany isn't holding back. She's basically saying that Tyra's behavior wasn't just a passionate mentor moment, it was targeted and humiliating. Tiffany shared that behind the scenes, the argument was actually 1,000 times worse than what we saw on TV. According to Page Six, Tyra actually admitted that she went too far. She claims that her explosion at Tiffany was triggered by Black girl stuff, the pressure of society, family, and wanting better for Black women. But Tiffany's perspective is very, very different. She felt like she was being a typecast as a poor girl from the hood for ratings, and Tyra Banks used her personal struggles, like her grandmother's lights being turned off, just to create a viral moment. So I've got to ask you, now that we've seen both sides of this iconic moment decades later, do you think Tyra's tough love was actually rooted in care, like she says, or was this from a high level reality TV bullying aspect?
I have to take every breath before we get in. I finally had the opportunity to actually sit down and watch that docu-series, and I knew we were going to get some behind the scenes tea, but some of the details are coming to light are and far more disturbing than anything we've ever heard over the last 20 years. There's like one there is one specific moment in that documentary that hasn't left my mind, and honestly, I don't think it'll ever will. Um, alumni Shandy Sullivan opened up about her experience in Milan during Cycle 2, I believe, and for years it was framed as a
Yes,
cheating scandal or an
yes,
entanglement with an Italian model. But
yes.
Shandy is now alleging that she was actually sexually
Great,
assaulted
great.
while she was blacked out drunk. And really quick, sorry, Adonis. She was blacked out drunk and doesn't fully remember that night. What makes it even more chilling is the footage we all remember. The camera captured that devastating phone call where she's sobbing in distress, telling her boyfriend, who we aren't naming, what happened, only for him to snap at her and call her and I quote, bitch, down the
Uh,
line. And according to Jay Manuel, who was the show's creative director, the rule was that cameras couldn't follow you into a bathroom alone. Yet when went into the shower that night, the camera somehow captured it. From an entertainment experience expert's point of view, the ethics are just non-existent. Because recording a woman or man in that state of trauma for good TV is a line that should have never been crossed. And Shandy even revealed that this isn't the first time trying to speak up. She claimed that as back as 2023, she's been trying to tell people about the culture of the show where models were provided with alcohol and then left unprotected. And as far as the situation with Tiffany, I wasn't surprised at all that she didn't appear in the documentary. She chose
Thank
to
you.
share her piece in a now deleted, from what I know, Instagram post,
Mm, mm,
instead calling
mm,
out the bullying she faced after seeing
mm.
how they handled Shandy's trauma. And I can't say I blame Tiffany for not wanting to give that production another second of her time.
The lens that are appropriate from 2000 in the earlies into 2026, we could look at America's Next Top Model as Hunger Games and the Olympics. The aspect of the Hunger Games, as in these kids kind of get thrown into this thing and they must survive and come out on top. That's why America's top model. As far as the Olympics, this is where we have chosen specific few to participate and compete, not for your country, but for the culture. Because at the same time, Tyra Banks broke beauty molds, beauty standards, given Winnie Harlow, Eva Pigford, and the plus size model. Her name is Whitney. I forgot her name. Now, I will not negate the feelings and the experiences that the models had, but I will most definitely recognize the type of opportunity they had with the show. Now, even though it was a backslap because of the other model, Danielle, the one who they closed the gap on, her career was over before it ever began. It never was really taken seriously because America's Top Model was a reality show. So, this is a double-sided sword of feelings, emotions, and reality coming from Tyra Banks and the young lady Tiffany. I do believe Tyra Banks looked out for her. I do believe Tyra Banks wanted her to win. I do believe it was a black girl thing or a black thing. And I do believe that there is some truth to Tiffany's upbringing and background. She was kind of like, I don't want to. It's a slogan. I'm not saying it. They call it country dumb. She was inexperienced and things like that. I believe that sometimes it's hard to recognize a blessing when you've been grateful for, like socks, washcloths, and grits, and then you get this platinum type of platform. You don't even really realize what you have. I think that's really what it was. I think it was unrecognition of Tiffany's experience, and it probably was exploitation of her by UPN, aka America's Next Top Model.
And let's not forget that whole moment went viral and became a meme to
And
begin
it's
with.
and it's still viral right now today. It's
Yeah,
still viral right now today.
yeah. Alrighty, well, we're wrapping things up today with a story that really makes you look at the American Idol dream differently. David Archuleta just released his memoir, Devout, and in an exclusive with People, he revealed that at an absolute height of his fame, right after Crush was blowing up the charts, he was actually living as an unhoused person sleeping in his car. It's honestly hard to wrap your head around. Here is this teenager everyone is rooting for, no pun intended, a household name, and he's spending his nights in a vehicle because he felt he didn't deserve a home. He described it as a form of self-punishment rooted in that deep shame. He felt trying to reconcile his sexuality with his faith at the time. He was making money and had the success, but he felt so unworthy that he literally chose to live in his car to match the way he felt inside. So I'm curious to know, Adonis, what do you feel about it?
Mental illness is real. Seeking professional medical help is a standard bar. I don't think that anyone should be in that type of mental, emotional state that is unsupervised and or is alone without someone that actually loves them or someone that is caring for them. I believe that if he was if he had a mentor, if he went to some type of therapist, seen some type of psychologist, that he could have had a breakthrough and he could have made it through that. It's really, really sad and sorry to think of that because it makes me think about the homelessness now that we have. It is at an all-time high. And though we can, and excuse me, no, not we, though mental illness pays a big percentage of the cases of the people that are in the street, it's just like it doesn't matter where you came from or how you got there. It's the like it's your condition. So as successful as he was, all those things, for him to like like demise, neglect himself, try to make himself smaller, or unloved, unrespected, unworthy was what was in the story, like that's sad, I say this all the time on social media, even here on the bubble chat. You matter. Listeners, you matter. Every last one of you matter. You matter enough to take the actions, whatever it needs for you to be better because you matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, looking at the details of his journey, I truly believe he was right to eventually distance himself and escape from that unhealthy relationship with a relative once things became toxic. It's one of the hardest things a person can do, especially when you're spiritual and family is supposed to be your foundation. But sometimes you have to choose yourself just to survive. Because when you're Because when you're in that environment where your identity is treated like a burden or something to be fixed, it creates that deep sense of unworthiness David talked about. Like that toxic dynamic is likely what pushed him into that cycle of self-punishment where, excuse me, where he felt like he didn't even deserve a roof over his head. And it takes an incredible amount of strength to recognize that loyalty shouldn't come at the cost of your mental health or your entire literal life.
Facts.
Yeah, well, as we're continuing our celebration of Black History Month, we have to shine a massive spotlight on a man who's been a pillar of the movement for over 60 years, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. And honestly, this conversation feels especially heavy and important today, as we just received the news that he actually passed away a couple of not too long ago at 84 years old, and we thank him for his fight and his courage.
We want to talk about Black excellence and Black power. Jesse Jackson is the blueprint. He started as a young protege of Martin Luther King, standing right there at the Lorraine Motel in that tragic moment in 1968. But instead of letting the moment fade, he took that torch and ran it. He founded the Operation Push right here in Chicago for the fight for the economic justice, making sure our community wasn't just spinning up a big corporations, but actually getting hired and representing those in the boardrooms. Before there was an Obama, there was a Jesse Jackson, proving that a Black man could command a national stage and win millions of voters. He built the Rainbow Coalition, bridging together Black, brown, and working class people of all backgrounds to say, our time has come. Even in his final years, while dealing with health challenges, he never stopped showing up for the people. He was truly a bridge between the civil rights era and the activists that we see today. RIP and our condolences to Jesse Jackson.
And we are back. I hope you all had a second to grab a refill or stretch your legs. Before the break, we were deep, excuse me, we were diving deep into some pretty heavy headlines. But now is the time to shift gears and get into one of my favorite parts of the show. It's time for our throwback topic segment. For those of you who are new to the Bible, this is the segment where we pull back the curtain on pop culture, news, or iconic moments that happened long before the Bubble Chat was even the thought in my head or podcasting. There's something so nostalgic about looking back at the stories that shaped the world where we live in now, whether it's an old school R&B beef, a classic movie anniversary, or a tech that trend that we all thought was going to last forever. It's all about giving those vintage moments a fresh perspective in 2026. What you got, Adonis?
All right, well, let's get into today's throwback topic. And man, this is a classic. We are traveling back to August of 2013 and the MTV Music Awards. If you were on the internet that night, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. It was the night that AKA Miley Cyrus, AKA Hannah Montana, officially shed that goddamn skin of hers from Disney and by all twerking on Robin Thicke during the medley of We Can't Stop and Blurred Lines. She had a line or two, Allegedly. We all remember watching this in real time, just being confused. It wasn't just the twerking baby, it was the giant foam, finger, the nude color bikini, and the tongue wagging that was most totally sensory overload. At the time, social media absolutely exploded. Twitter set a record of over 300,000 tweets per minute during that performance. Everyone from Brooke Shields to the parents of television counsel was weighing in, and the word twerking became the most searched word term on the planet almost overnight. That little white girl threw that little baby dead ass around like a wrecking ball. So I have to throw this to you guys. Looking back at 2013 VMA's moment now, do you think that Miley was just being Miley and exploring her sexuality, or was this just a performance problematic as the critics said it was, in terms of how she used Black culture to rebrand herself? Now, I ain't gonna say this once, but I'm gonna say it twice. Miley was high. Miley was high. Miley was high. It could have been a purple Crayola marker up there singing. She would have did the same damn thing. She would have did the same damn thing. And if you agree with me, my people, then guess what? You are correct. And guess what's also true? That's it for our show today. I want to thank you so much for spending time with us, because your times mean so much to us here in the bubble. I know that there are a million things that you could be doing. So the fact that you choose to hang out here with us and dive into these conversations with me and nephew really means the world to him, because this is his shit. The Bubble Chat. We also want to hear from you guys. Head over to our social medias and let us know your thoughts on everything that we talked about today. Your voice is what keeps this community growing, and I love seeing the discussions that happen once this microphone is turned off. We hope that you all stay inspired. We want you to stay creative, and most importantly, stay true to yourselves. And as you head into the rest of your week, until next time, I am your host, the Adonis Concierge, on the Bubble Chat, right here with Nephew, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace out, y'all.